Most event pros only look at what's happening in their city or their state. But the real innovation is happening everywhere. And today we're going to be talking about an amazing entrepreneur that's starting a business in South Africa, the opportunities that are coming up as having a food cart in that region. She's going to give some really great insight on redefining her brand, service, and experience. And you really want to tune in. So if you ever felt boxed in with what's normal in the US event industry, or you struggle to figure out how to stand out in an oversaturated market, this conversation will truly open your eyes. Because the way of food carts in different parts of the event industry are expanding abroad is truly going to be really insightful for you. It's really a masterclass to understand what is a possibility outside of the United States. My guest today is Benedicte Muya, and she's an incredible food cart entrepreneur in Johannesburg, South Africa, who has a simple concept, but she's bringing extreme luxury into her region. So her story is going to show to you what's possible to blend your culture, creativity, and visualizing new opportunities for your business. So my promise to you is by the end of this episode, you'll see your business differently and you'll walk away with some fresh ideas on branding to your customer experience and scaling creatively, even as a solopreneur or a small team. So you definitely want to take out your pen and paper to take out some notes in today's conversation. Let's dig into it. So thank you so very much for being a guest today, Benedict. I'm super excited about this conversation that we're going to be having. So share with us a little bit about who you are, and we'll jump right into this conversation.
Yes, great. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. As you mentioned, my name is Benedict, and I'm the founder and owner of Nibble and Nest, based in South Africa. And we are a charcuterie cart service, which is mobile, and we cater charcuterie boards to any type of intimate gatherings and social gatherings like weddings, bridal showers, birthday parties, sip and paints, anything that requires food and people together for an event. That's what we do. So on the side, I'm also a physiotherapist, trained as that professionally. And I have my little Nibble and Nest business that I'm trying to push and I'm trying to build and grow. And I've been building this business. I think I launched in August, August this
Mhm.
year. So it's been around for a few months now.
I love that you're also doing this on the side because I feel that sometimes people don't realize the power of building something part-time
hmm
while you still have a full-time job. So I am
hmm
super curious about like what made you choose like from the beginning that you wanted to actually do like a mobile charcuterie cart as a style of like this is the type of business I want to start.
Well, I think it all goes back to kind of like growing up in my family. We always loved hosting people. We always loved having gatherings and events. My sister and I would kind of lead the forefront of, the decor and what food are we going to serve and how are we going to make this event like, special and make it stand out. So I developed love for hosting and, having events and making social gatherings just much more enjoyable for people. So
Mhm.
I always had that desire. And then I've also always had the desire to start my own business. So I do enjoy my profession, but I always wanted something that I could kind of build and grow and call my own and say that this is what I actually started, from the ground up. And I gained experience because I put in the effort and the energy to learn how to start up a business. So I was actually one day, because I always had the idea of having a business, I just didn't know what, right?
Yeah.
So one
hmm
day I was scrolling on social media and I found somebody talking about how having a mobile charcuterie cart would be such a great idea,
Yeah.
for all kinds of events. And it just looked like it looked like something that I could actually do on my
hmm
own.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to have a business that would need other people, but it's different if you can build a business where it's like, if I don't have other people supporting me, or if I don't have
hmm
other people helping me, will I be able to still run this business on my own? So that
Yeah.
looked like something that I knew I would be able to do by myself. And it kind of fits the things that I enjoyed doing. It fits into the events industry. So I always loved hosting events, being at social gatherings. So that was
Mhm.
something that fits perfectly in that. And it kind of brought the two parts of my life together and became
Yeah.
one thing. And that's how, yeah, that's how I got into that.
And to be very honest, like when I came across you, we connected on TikTok. For those of you who are
Mm.
listening and or watching, one of the things when I first saw your handle, and when I saw the check, I was like, oh, this is really pretty. And then when I saw you had the at the end dash SA, and I was like South Africa, and I was like, hold on, let me not assume. I was like, let me not assume. Because I personally, just so if anyone doesn't know that, like, I mean, I think it makes sense, South
Mm.
Africa, so SA. But
Yes.
so when I saw it, I was like, hold on, I don't think that I've ever seen that, like, I've never come across anyone's handle that was actually located in Johannesburg or in South Africa that was
Oh,
doing
wow.
a charcuterie cart. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that is absolutely genius because for anyone that doesn't have family, that is on the continent of Africa, like I naturally think of like hosting family gatherings, like whenever I'm visiting
Hmm.
family,
Hmm.
regardless where it is in the continent, like you're always getting together with someone. And when you're
Yeah. Sure.
like a random Wednesday, we're gonna braai, which is grilling for Americans, like we're doing a food display and all those things. Like I'm very
Uh,
accustomed to that. And when I saw what you're doing, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so genius because I see that there's definitely a need or an
there.
opportunity that is
Yeah.
there. So for you, have you found that people haven't grasped the concept, or are they immediately excited, like someone like myself, when I saw that this is what you're doing?
Yeah. Um, I think it's definitely something that is still new and
Mhm.
growing, but I think as time is going by, people are catching on to this idea and they're learning more and more about it. I initially first heard about this business. It was about March this year, where I first saw that video about the charcuterie business because I've never ever seen anything like it before. And even
Yeah.
when I saw it, it was a video of somebody in the US. And
Yeah.
then I started doing my research to try and figure out is anybody in South Africa doing this? And I couldn't really find much. I think I found maybe one or two people somewhere
Mhm.
in South Africa doing this business, but a lot of people didn't know about it. So I was like, this is a great opportunity to start something here and to
Mhm.
do something that not many people are aware of. So I think since March up until now, we're in December, it has grown like tremendously. I think there's been so many more people who started their own charcuterie businesses apart from mine as well. So it's definitely growing and people are becoming more aware about it.
And there's not a shortage of like I don't think that is a shortage of possibility in the industry, to be very honest. Like one of the things
Mhm.
that I think is super important for us to know in the event industry is that the event industry is very global. And with it even being global, you're having to realize that you're having a lot of individuals, like I feel like a lot of cultures are starting to intertwine, or there's a lot more openness to travel. And so when we're
Yeah.
having this occur, what's happening is that I feel like family gatherings are going on. There also becomes more holes to be able to be filled by new innovation inside
Yeah.
of the event industry. And I think that is genius that you're gonna be one of the first ones that do it because it allows for you to kind of not only you're starting something new, but also with setting the standard of what that is
Hmm.
expected because there's so much opportunity. Like I was talking to a wedding planner that's here in the United States, but she's Nigerian and she probably will listen to this podcast. And I was saying to her, she's like, I'm here in Nigeria, I'm in America, I'm doing weddings. And she's like, I really want to grow here. I was like, but you know where the gap is? It's like majority of my friends
Hmm.
that are Nigerian that are getting married, they're having to do both a wedding in America as well as a traditional
Yeah.
wedding back home. I'm like, my
Yeah.
sister, she had a wedding in Gambia. So that's where my step family's from. And then we also had the wedding in Namibia because she married a Namibian. And so, like, you're having now, because we are really truly embracing being global, it allows for these really great
Hmm.
innovations and like what you're doing. And I said to her, I was like, I'm like, if you can figure out a way to solve the gap between, which is really traumatic for a lot of people, trying to plan a wedding is hard, but planning a wedding in multiple continents,
That is another level of stress.
it's another level of stress. So, like, having
Mhm.
relationships with individuals like Benedict, like, it helps with, for those of you that are really wanting to have a global business, like, talking and
Yeah,
meeting to people, like,
yeah,
don't assume, like, if this is in another continent or another country, that there's not an opportunity. There is very much so an opportunity.
exactly,
And so with
exactly, 100%.
so it's good to know, like, in the US, there's been a big growth of food carts and a wide range of like charcuterie. There's also like cake carts that are coming out, which I think is really cool, where you can I'm not sure if you've seen those, where
Mm,
they're like
I've
individual
seen those
cakes.
before.
Yeah.
Yes, the cake tins.
The cake tins, I'm like, "Oh, that's genius." So people can get their toppings and things like
Yes.
that. And so with you doing now the food cart there in Johannesburg, what are you doing to help with educating your audience or your potential clients about why there's a benefit of using your type of service?
I think I work a lot on my social media in
Mhm.
terms of trying to reach people. I think it's a great platform to kind of educate people on what it is that we do and why it would be a great idea for them to have us at their event. I mean, I
Mm.
think one of the most important ones when it comes to hosting an event, it can be a very stressful thing. You find yourself having to run up and down the store looking for ingredients and then also having to work on decor and having to organize the event itself. So I think if people come to understand that if you just hire somebody who can just take care of the food and you get a food cart at your events, which is not only something that saves you time, but it's also kind of makes your event a little bit more aesthetic and a little bit more exciting. So
Yes.
getting people to understand that this is something that saves you time and just helps with the overall aesthetics of your event.
Mhm.
It kind of gets people, excited and interested in the cause. And they're like, yeah, well, I think this would be a great addition to my event. So I think we use a lot of our social media to kind of push through the message as to why having a food cart, or not even just a cart, or maybe having charcuterie cups or having charcuterie boxes would be much easier
Yeah.
than you having to organize and do all the preparations by yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and I think you do a really great job of that because, like, I saw recently you had a post about the dimensions for people, because I think
Okay.
something that's a little bit different, um, from US to there is that it's more common for people to entertain, like, in homes and those types of environments. You do have venues where we tend to be extremely venue heavy, where
Hmm.
entertaining tends to be more in, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like some of the entertaining might be on someone's home, or like they're like they have a really nice backyard, like, not because again, I
Hmm.
don't want people that have never seen photos of, like, Africa. Like, I feel like this look I would recommend for anyone that's listening, actually look this up, but a lot of times when I would see entertaining, it's not heavy at venues, it's heavy at, like,
Outdoors.
residences and outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's great that you're educating people about, like, this is how much space it will take up, because it
Yeah.
helps again with people understanding, like, okay, if I have this outdoor dining area, like, will I be able to still have the tables that are set up and have enough space for people to talk and dance and things like that? I love that you do that on your social media.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think it's something that works really well, especially for outdoor events. I mean, whether it's outdoor,
Mhm.
indoor events, I think the cart works really well
Yes.
for entertaining guests and for events. And like you said, it doesn't really take a lot of space, and it's
Mm.
also perfect because it's mobile, so it gets
Yes.
to move around to different locations and can fit in pretty much any type of a venue that somebody may have. So, yeah.
I love that. And so for you, I would love to know, like, you've been creating a really great brand on TikTok and being able to educate people. Like, what are some elements that you're really attentional about when it comes to informing or making your brand aware to people that you're trying to connect with on social media?
That's an interesting question. What are some things specifically in terms of like sales or in terms of just building
Well,
the
like your
name for my
brand, because I think like when I think of your brand, I think that you try to show elevated or like, yeah, I
yeah.
would say elevated or elegant experience. That's what I receive from consuming your content. So like, is that even something intentional from, because
Okay.
I would assume that when I see someone that is presenting themselves in an elevated position
Mm-hmm.
online, is it for it would be speaking to someone that wants to have like a well thought out event or something that's well intentional design wise. And so when compared to someone is like, I'm looking for something budget, like I would not that it's going to necessarily be that it's extremely expensive, but I would think that someone that's looking at your brand online
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that you're going to be professional, that this is going to
Yeah.
help with elevating your event. And again, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's intentional, but that's kind of when I see it, I think of a premium service by what
Yeah.
you're presenting. So is that the
Yeah.
intentionality behind your brand?
Yes, yes, definitely, 100%. That is fully my intention. I want to bring the brand across as something that people see as being an elevated and premium experience and a professional service, you know. And I don't necessarily think when I look at my competitors and the pricing ranges, as much as we push a certain, how do I say it? Like a certain idea of how we're gonna present ourselves as a cart, we don't necessarily show that as much in our pricing. So I do want to be a business and a brand that people feel that they can actually trust, and that's why I put my face out a lot on my content. I want people to
Yeah.
know that I'm actually a human being who is behind this business, and I work really well on my feeds, and I make sure every post is nicely curated and I put in the effort and the energy into presenting myself a certain way because that's the experience that I want my customers to have. I want them
Hmm.
to be able to engage with me and ask me questions and to know that if they were to book my service, that they were going to get a certain level of an experience and a high quality service from me.
Yeah.
So that is definitely the experience that I want my customers and clients to have.
And I love that you do that because I think that it also allows for people to be drawn to your services.
Mhm,
Because what we put out there, it really aligns too to the type of people that even reach out to us. Like I think that that
mhm,
is why we have to be intentional with how we market because social media is marketing. Like regardless
mhm.
if people want to recognize it as that or not, but it is truly marketing and it's not just wanting visibility. It's about
Mhm.
attracting the people that we want to work with us in the business
Yeah,
because sometimes I feel like some people get so wrapped into the fame and the going viral, but if it's gonna get you viral for a whole bunch of people that are not your target audience, like, then
exactly.
what's the point?
Exactly, exactly. The whole point is to, to try and get the sales part. It's not
Yes.
necessarily on just being visible to people who are not even planning on booking. So I think that's something that I also do struggle with. And I think that I've been struggling with when it comes to my social media marketing is that a lot of people look at my page and they see this beautiful and high end business and this person is putting in all this efforts and energy to build a beautiful brand and it looks great,
Mhm,
but sometimes I wonder if I'm maybe not necessarily attracting the people who are interested in just the sales parts. Because a lot of
mhm,
people are interested in how the business looks and building something that looks like that for themselves.
mhm,
But I'm also working on going in the direction of people who actually see this as a service
mhm.
that they can have for themselves, for their own events.
And I think it's just the time that takes the time. And even for myself, when I have traveled like in that region, I'm not gonna lie, like y'all TikTok like presence is pretty massive, like or visibility. It's funny because even though I haven't been there in a year, still when I look at my analytics, a portion of my views are in Namibia. And I'm like it's something about the visibility that happens there. I swear, like the top, I would say 50% of the people I engage with on a daily basis on TikTok, they are not in the United States. They're in Windhoek. And so,
Really?
Yeah, because when I was there, like, I would get a lot of visibility, like, I don't know what it is about the engagement and probably too because the algorithm's a little bit different. So it is probably even
Yeah.
understanding that it might take having a different approach, like, keep doing what you're doing, of course, but
Yeah.
understanding that there's a lot of watching and understanding what that conversion looks like. So, yeah, you might be getting a lot of views. Okay, once people start coming in, how are they finding you? And asking them, like, exactly what attracted you to them. And like how maybe how long have they been following, like do it in a non-weird way because that might also help with
Yeah.
understanding how long conversions take. Because yes, like South Africa TikTok is to me like one of the funner sides of like TikTok because when there's disrespect felt is massively felt, but then also when there's this love and support, like you're going to get a lot of visibility. And I think it's important to
Okay.
know
I'm
that
I'm
if this conversation has already been giving you ideas, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you never miss our weekly episodes or the great interviews on this podcast. Learning
yeah.
that through the process. I mean, and also too, like one of the
Yeah.
biggest things that you'll find is that there's seasonalities. So it might be that, once you get to the first year, 2 years, you'll find that specific seasons, you're going to probably get more people that are watching. And then you're going to get seasons where there are more
Mhm.
people inquiring. And, so like
Yeah.
everything has ebbs
Yeah.
and flows because this might be the season of people watching, but this is also because it's hot. Like you're going into your summer months. So understanding like even for us, we're in our winter months. So it's 39.
Mm.
I don't know the conversion, but it's cold. It's very cold here right now. So it's understanding based on where you are in those seasonalities of like when are people more prone to want to do events? Like if it's super hot and it's more prone for people to be
Mm.
outside, are they thinking maybe it might be too hot to do a charcuterie cart, but until you really get through 1 to 2 years, you won't have the data to really know like, okay, when should I expect more insurgents or when are people watching? Because when
Yeah.
people are watching, that's when it's intentionally marketing to get as much awareness as possible so that when they're ready
Mm.
to start booking, that you're already in their spectrum and you're on their like you're already in their on their watch list essentially because you've been making them aware during the awareness season. So like it's
Yeah.
important for even the listeners to understand like everything has a season. And when you understand and it takes time, unfortunately, like it takes sometimes 2, 3 years to even see any trends because it's not only just country wise, it can be where you are city wise, region wise, all has a seasonality. And it's important to understand like what is that season so that when you're in awareness season, it comes down to who do I need to collaborate with? What do I need to put out marketing wise? How do I build up an email list? How do I do those things now so that when people are actively trying to book, that they know to reach out to you because you've been doing all of the awareness so that they know to come to you when they're ready to book. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. That's really true. Hey, I think it's really true that I adjust my strategies based on certain periods and certain times of the year when I
Mhm,
expect more people to want to have events and to do more hosting, especially
mhm,
around like the summertime. That's when I would want to push people to book and
mhm,
do more advertising in terms of the cart service. And then
mhm,
maybe when it comes to colder periods and colder months, then I adjust and maybe focus on something else that's a little bit more different, but still maintaining that consistency throughout
mhm.
different periods of the year.
Yeah, because like your cups, your charcuterie cups and your boxes, like during the winter season, like that's a great alternative. And so the marketing leading into the colder months can be a little bit more heavier on that than the
On
cart
that.
because
Yeah.
people are thinking to themselves, like, oh, like I'm not doing anything else outside. So like you want to show what's leading into the season from a marketing tip. Just I hope anyone is listening look at it inside of their business. Like, how can I use the upcoming seasons to market what people are looking for, not what I want to push? Because like that's a great way to convert better when it comes to marketing your event
Yeah.
business. So for
Sure,
you,
sure. Mhm.
no, go ahead. Go ahead and answer. You're good. Go ahead.
No, I was also gonna say, I also think just marketing around certain festivities and celebrations, I think is
Hmm.
also a really good technique. So developing maybe with like the boxes and cards, developing menus that are specifically, this is like the Christmas box or
Hmm.
this is an Easter box. So having certain even specials and pushing out different types of menu options for different celebrations and
Hmm.
holidays throughout the year. I think that would also be a really good idea and something to focus on to also show people that we are adjusting and we can offer a variety of different options.
1,000%. Highly recommend. Like that's even what I'm doing now for Q1 of next year. So like I'm not waiting for Q1 to think about what are the offers. I'm actually using today to start thinking that through so that we know what we're marketing for January and actively starting to connect with clients that would want that service for January. So like
Mm.
the crazy part about events, the event industry, it's you have to be present to today, but you also have to be forecasting for the future. It's like, I
For
know
the
that right.
future.
It's like, I know I'm in December, but I have clients asking what we're doing in January and February. So it's like, I'm here, but I'm not here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. So I'm curious for
Yeah.
you. Like, what are some of the things that you've had to think about when it comes to your client experience, when it comes to just community, culture, and just your community and culture influence when it comes to your menu? So I'm sure that there's different things that you've had to consider about, just like how you were mentioning different seasons having different things in your charcuterie offering. How does your culture also impact what you're putting on your menu?
I think for the most part, um, because we're still quite new, we've been focusing on a very simple menu.
Hmm.
I think it's best to do something simple and then try to do something different, I think, as time goes by. But I think culturally, we've been trying to be open when it comes to accommodating. I don't know if you're aware of like halal foods and Muslim
Hmm.
people, and because they have a specialized diet, so
Yes.
certain meats need to be different for them. So just allowing people to know that we are able to cater to those types of dietary requirements, and also
Mhm,
people who are vegetarian, we are able to cater to that as well. But in
mm,
terms of I think the rest of like the culture in South Africa, I don't really think there's much that's different
mm,
because most of our foods are just, they just snack options, your
mhm,
cheeses, your crackers, grapes, fruits and veggies. But it's when it comes to the meat options where we have to be a little bit more, um, selective of what types of meats we're going to be choosing for a specific event. And then we just
mm,
communicate with the specific clients that we're going to be hosting for and ask them, are there any maybe dietary requirements? Is there anything that you want to adjust in the menu that doesn't work for you or won't
mhm.
work for your guests and your event? So yeah, I think that's for the most part the only adjustments that we've needed to make. Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm sure you're probably expecting a different response because this is South
No,
Africa and we do have so many different cultures, but
but the
but
foods
in
are
terms of
somewhat
the cards, it's
similar,
been
so
quite
yeah.
standard and quite simple.
Yeah, no, I didn't, and I'm glad to even hear that you had the option for vegetarians because I lean more towards a vegetarian lifestyle, and nothing confuses people more when I go there that I say that because I feel they're like, "What? No, no meat?" And I'm like, I feel like it's almost like
We
I'm
love
cuss
meats.
yeah, like I feel like I'm cussing someone out when I say that they're trying to understand. They're like, it's
How
kind
is
of
that
interesting.
possible?
How is that possible? Yeah, I tried to date someone there, and he was like, "I don't understand." He's like, I'm curious." He's like, "Can you cook meat at least?" I'm like, "Yes, I can cook it, but I just don't eat it."
So you would
It's
so you would attend a bride.
I do, but, like, I will have some because I know if I don't have any, people will be very curious, and it gets into a conversation that I don't want to, go into, but
My
most of my
goodness.
close family know that how I don't. So they help
Mm,
with mediating anyone that doesn't like that makes awareness that I'm not eating certain things. So like if someone brings something to me that I'm like, "Oh, no, that makes me really feel like I'm eating an animal," then then I'm like, "No, that's okay, but I'll take this." So I've
no.
learned to, like, go to something else, but yeah, um, it's always very interesting. So
Okay.
I'm glad though that you are having those options, and I believe that you doing keeping things simple it's really the key to
Yeah.
scaling. So no, I think that your answer is perfect because I feel that sometimes what allows for people to get stopped or overcomplicate things is making the menus too vast that it makes you hold
Yes.
on to inventory on things that just won't ever be consumed. And so then
Yeah.
you're just trashing money, on items because it wasn't
Yeah.
consumed. So keeping it simple is great
Yeah.
because even as the business continues to grow, you'll be able to have other people supporting you with
Yeah.
with the reduction of potential errors. So I think I'm glad actually that you said that. Awesome. Okay, so I'm really curious for you. What are some of the business challenges that you have ran into newer in business that you really weren't aware that was going to be a challenge?
Well, the challenges have been so many. I think there's different challenges for different stages. I would think in the beginning, my challenges were mostly just trying to figure out if this was a good idea for me. I knew it was a great business idea, but is this going to be something that I would be able to carry long term? And was it
Mhm,
going to be something that would be sustainable and would be able to grow and
mhm,
be scalable, over time? So I think it came to me trying to figure out a good business plan and trying to work on something that I knew I'd be able to grow.
mhm,
And also some other challenges with things like pricing. I think that's been the biggest challenge that I've come across is just trying to know how much food would I need to buy for a certain event and also
mhm,
how to price that. Because if I'm going to buy, for example, a carton of grapes, I need to know, okay, how many people is this carton of grapes going to be sufficient for? And
mhm,
then how much would that mean for each individual person? And if I'm going to make, for example, a charcuterie box, how many grapes I need to put in each box and how many of this and how much does all of that add up to? And then on
mhm,
top of that, I think I would forget, and I think a lot of small business owners don't account for the things that are behind the scenes. For example, if I was to use my charcuterie cart, I would have to account for using dry ice or ice packs. And
mhm,
that's, a cost to the business. And that's something that I need to calculate and include in my pricing. I need to include other costs like petrol, the time it takes for me to go up and down and buy all of the goods and ingredients. So I think pricing has been something that I've really been struggling with. So, like I was saying, I think I've been struggling a lot with the pricing. I've been struggling a lot with, I think, networking and
mhm,
trying to get people to collaborate with. Because as
mhm,
much as I do work a lot on my social media and I'm building that to the extent that I've built it to now, I'm starting to realize that a lot of growth also happens through other people and
mhm,
through networking with other businesses. For example, other decor companies, like events coordinators, wedding planners, just trying to get in touch with them and trying to figure out who to speak to
mhm,
let them know about my business and let them know about the service I offer and how beneficial it would be for them to include me as,
mhm,
part of their events packages. So I think just trying to get my name out there outside of the social media and trying to build relationships with
mhm,
people has been something that I've struggled with a lot.
mhm.
Um yeah, those are just a few of the things that I've been having challenges with at the moment.
Yeah, and the thing is though is that and I'm glad that you both of the things you mentioned, I think, are very valuable, and have to truly applaud you for, um, being aware of the cost component because I don't feel that a lot of people are aware of portions. They're not aware of how
Mm,
much it costs for them to execute their services, in understanding that all of that matters. Like, yeah, like operation cost are something that's important to
yeah.
know because if you're putting out arbitrary numbers that you don't know, like, because it
Yeah.
sounds great. Like, someone can charge a great amount, like a huge amount, and huge is relative to the individual to execute the service. But if you're not walking away with something that's remotely, profitable and comfortable for you,
Exactly.
then it's becomes like, what's the
Yeah.
point? And I love how you gave the example about
Yeah.
the grapes because portion sizes are important. Because, like, if
Yeah.
someone's thinking, okay, I got booked for 30 people, and you know that you need to have about X amount of grapes per serving size, like, you're not just buying a bunch of, bags of grapes
Yeah.
for no reason. And nothing sucks more is then you're like, go home and you realize, like, oh my gosh, I spent more at the grocery store than I was intending. And so you don't really make as much as what you
Yeah.
were aiming to make. So I love how you broke that down. And I love that you're also taking on the collaboration standpoint because I think that that's important too. And it will feel like it's a challenge in the beginning, but also it takes time for that, for some people. And because again, sometimes planners are in their seasons as well. And so, like, I'm
Yeah.
really big on um, finding planners and finding venues and collaborating with companies because I think that that is great. But I also understand that sometimes it can take reaching out to 10 to eventually get 1 to 2. So,
Yeah.
and finding
Yeah.
what's going to be the method for consistently following up with people and staying on their radar as well.
Yeah. True. True. Um, and I think also something that has been quite discouraging for me,
Mhm,
it's when I found myself emailing and reaching out to people and I don't get any response. And I feel
mhm,
like that can be very discouraging, especially to people who are starting up as a business.
mhm,
Or maybe you get an inquiry from a customer and then you follow up with them and you respond to the inquiry and then you hear nothing. And even after
mhm,
the follow up, you hear nothing from them. So I think
mhm,
just getting used to the fact that yes, people are going to make inquiries and you
mhm.
may never hear from them again. And even if you follow up,
Yes.
they might have just changed their mind. They may no longer be interested. And you just
Mhm,
have to still keep on moving and still keep on pushing the business. And even if you still get no's from maybe you reached out to an events coordinator and they said no, they're not interested, you still have to keep on pushing and try with somebody else because there
mm,
will be somebody out there who sees the potential in your business and who sees how great of a business or how great of an addition it would be to their
mhm,
clientele. So I think just maintaining the motivation is a
mhm,
really important thing to have when
mm.
starting a business.
Yeah. No, and I like that you said that, like, and I feel that I always try to say it's not rejection. And the reality for those of you listening is that your business does not have to be in the confines of your county, city, state, or even continent. There are a lot of opportunities for you to grow and scale abroad too. So if you love this episode and have been considering going globally, I would love to be able to hear from you. Comment below and let me know exactly which country you've been thinking to expand your business. And if you've been facing some challenges with expanding abroad, let's have a healthy conversation below in the comments section of this video if you're watching online. Make sure you come back and listen to next week's episode.